The drone strike killed children and adults, men and women, plunging Tudun Biri into deep grief and long-lasting trauma. Hashim Abdullahi, who lost his wife and children in the incident, said he is still struggling with the emotional burden of the experience.
Akwai Amina, akwai Farida, akwai Halilu, sai uwansu Maryama.
I lost my children, Amina, Farida and Halima, and my wife Maryam. When I arrived at the scene, I could hardly recognize them. I only recognized my wife by the wrapper I had bought for her to celebrate it, but she was already dead. I managed to save her 8-month-old child, who is now my only son.
Lokacin da bam din ne tashi yana da wata 8 da haihuwa. Ya zama uwar goyen shi hatta yaye shi.
Abdullahi Musa, the deputy chief imam of the Tudun Biri mosque, was among those injured during the attack. Though he describes the incident as the will of God, he admits that overcoming the trauma has not been easy. I still struggle with the trauma of seeing small children die before my eyes. I could do nothing but watch. It was the will of God. After the tragic event, both the federal and state governments promised to build houses and provide other basic amenities for the community. Residents say Tudun Biri now wears a new look 2 years after the incident that claimed many lives. We thank God that the government has fulfilled most of its promises, including the 6-kilometer road, skill acquisition center, hospital, and housing projects.
Sai alƙawari na gaba suka ce za su yi mana gine-ginen gidaje.
A zamantakewa mu da haɗin kanmu wanda gwamnati ta duba.
We now live in peace in this community, and the government has attested to that. Both the state and federal governments have done their best. Unlike before, the residents of Tudun Biri can now access other communities in the metropolis with their farm produce and for other activities. However, despite the developments brought to the area, residents say they are still waiting for compensation for the people who died during the incident. The government has delivered 3 out of the 4 promises, but the families of the victims have not yet received compensation. 81 people died during the incident, while 71 people, including myself, were injured and hospitalized. We are appealing to the government to pay the compensation. Residents say that although life in Tudun Biri has improved and they can move on freely, they continue to live with the trauma of losing their loved ones in the tragedy. Bello, Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Still on the Tudun Biri tragedy, the Nigerian army has assured families affected by the tragedy that they will receive compensation as part of measures to address civilian casualties arising from military operations. The tragic airstrike on December 3, 2023 in Kaduna State claimed 85 lives and left dozens injured when a drone targeting suspected terrorists mistakenly hit Muslim worshippers during Maulud celebrations in Tudun Biri, Igabi local government area. This incident was followed by another unintended strike on December 25, 2024 in Sokoto State when an army drone targeting the terrorist group Laukurawa killed at least 10 civilians in the villages of Gideon Sama and Rumtua. Both events sparked nationwide griefs and heightened concerns over the safety of counter-terrorism air operations near civilian populations. Speaking at a media briefing in Abuja, Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Michael Onoja acknowledged the painful losses, reaffirmed the military's commitment to preventing similar incidents.
The issue of compensation for them has been discussed extensively, and you know that these things take time. It's a bureaucracy we are running. But I can assure you that in due course, compensation will be paid to that community in as much as due diligence has been done on the level of compensation and those who are affected by that incident. Abuja has a robust security architecture with all the headquarters of all the security agencies being located in Abuja. We also have a very extensive operational network of security agents operating in Abuja. So while those boys remain at the outskirts, I want to assure you and the public that I'm sure they will not be able to threaten us in Abuja.
All right, now joining us via phone is El Zubair Abubakar, Kaduna-based legal practitioner, to discuss more on the Tudun Biri incident. Thank you for joining, Barrister.
It's a great pleasure for me. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, now, Barrister, what is the legal status of promises made by the government to the Tudun Biri community? Are they binding and can they be enforced in courts if unfulfilled?
Those promises are promises that were made by the government at the time when the Nigerian Air Force dropped a bomb on worshippers while they were worshiping in the evening. Unfortunately, instead of first talking about the lives of those who are lost, and then for the Air Force to take responsibility, and then identify those officers that might have caused the mayhem, and then profile and try them. And if they were found wanting in the nature of their job, or there was some pollution, so that they can be punished openly, so Nigerians can see them. But you know, that was not the first time that such bombs were dropped by the Air Force. They only apologized, and nothing happens to those officers that have done it. In fact, the entire Air Force and the Nigerian Air Force have never even come out to apologize to Nigerians for the many infractions that had happened. So now, after that, government, state government, federal government made promises to these people. Some of them promised that they were going to give them compensation, which compensation did not come.
All right, Barrister, Barrister,
yes.
Now, what is the what are the legal binding of these promises? Are they still binding? Should the government or the army refuse to fulfill these promises? Are they binding? Is there any way these communities can take these issues further?
They are not binding. The reason is because the right thing was not initially done. What the Tudun Biri community ought to have done was to go to court and press for the violation of their rights, because it was deliberate and the federal government didn't give a convincing excuse. So all that the political ruling elites did was for each of them to come into Kaduna State, make promises, and then go back. Such promises are not binding. But you see, this happens only in Nigeria. In a country where there is a good government, where there is a serious government, and where the political ruling class has the interest of its citizens at heart, you don't even need to press for these promises. The government will have taken responsibility, compensation will have been paid, those who have died will have been identified, and their families will have been compensated. And the federal government will have come out to clearly make a statement that this is the reason why that infraction was made, and take a stand that it will not repeat itself again.
All right,
but
now
you see, Nigeria is not like that.
All right, Barrister, can we say now that the community is now too late for them to take any legal action against the military or the government?
No, it's not late. But whether they can be able to do that I think it is another issue. The reason is because when that infraction happened, there was an independent group of lawyers who wanted to take up the matter on behalf of the Tudun Biri community. In fact, I remember that they wanted to do it free for the people of Tudun Biri. The reason being that that was not the first time that the Nigerian Air Force had caused this kind of mayhem. And there has been no cogent explanation for the earlier infractions that were caused, even that of the Tudun Biri. But the community was lured by the Kaduna state government into openly disagreeing with the services that these lawyers wanted to offer them, because of the promises that the government made to them.
All right.
Because what the Kaduna state government did at that time was to call their leaders to the government house and convince them, so they could not take up that issue. But if they want to do that, it is not late, because fundamental infractions under the Constitution can be taken up any time.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister, for being part of this discussion.
Thank you so much.
All right.